Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to pull out the crucial insights that, well, help you get truly well informed. Today, we're taking a journey into the world of raccoons, our often misunderstood masked neighbors. We're focusing specifically on Ashley County, Arkansas, using a really fascinating series of essays. They're called Ashley County's Masked Neighbors, a Raccoon Chronicle by K. Brad Barfield from the Ovid T. Switzer Jr. collection.
Exactly. And our mission here is really to unpack how these animals are woven into the county's ecology, its history, and, even its culture. The key thing from these essays isn't just that raccoons are adaptable, though they certainly are. It's more about their dynamic, almost improvisational intelligence, how they survive by constantly adjusting to the county's rhythms.
That really does set the stage. I was struck by Barfield's opening line. He says raccoons, Procyon loader, are as much a part of this place as the slow meander of Bayou Bartholomew or the rustle of wind in a stand of river cane. It makes you think, how do they manage to thrive, not just survive, in such a unique place, interacting with the land and the people like that?
It's a great image, yeah. It captures their resilience perfectly. And like you said, they aren't just opportunists waiting for a handout. They're specialists in adaptation. They really make the most of every little corner of Ashley County, from those dense bottomland hardwoods up to the piney uplands, even right on the edges of farm fields. They just find a way.
And you see that ingenuity right away in the chronicles. Things like foraging for mussels and crayfish and flooded areas, picking mayhaws in spring.
Yeah.
And yes, the famous cornfield raids under the moonlight.
Right.
Their story really ties together the ecological, historical, and cultural threads of the county. It's quite a tapestry.
It really is.
So, okay, let's follow their tracks, so to speak. The chronicles mention them living from delta to hill country. Yeah, that covers basically everywhere, right? From Bayou Bartholomew's flooded areas to the sandy pine ridges near Drew County. What's the secret? How do they manage such diverse areas? Is there some kind of network?
Well, that network, as the source puts it, is really their knack for using these different habitats, which are often linked together. Down in the Delta, you'll find them deep in the cypress tupelo swamps along oxbow lakes. That's where they hunt crawfish in the shallows, dig for mussels, raid persimmon trees in the fall. And those wet areas are crucial for shelter to hollow trees, dense bushes, safe spots.
Okay, so that's the Delta. What about the uplands?
Moving west, into the rolling pine and hardwood areas, the landscape changes. Small creeks become really important there. Bear House, Overflow, Beach Creek. They're water sources, sure, but also travel routes. They'll den in old woodpecker holes, under barns, brush piles, anything that offers cover. And their diet shifts too, more acorns, insects, things like that.
And farms. They seem drawn to those too.
Definitely, especially farms near water. Cornfields, melon patches, pecan groves, prime spots. Ashley County farmers know all about their nighttime visits. Though it's worth mentioning the raccoons also help out a bit, quietly controlling some insects and rodents. But the real insight, I think, is how they connect all these different places through their movements. It becomes one big living space for them.
So it's not just luck, it's built into their design, their very being. What are the key tools, the physical and behavioral adaptations that make them such survivors?
Well, one of the most striking things the chronicles highlight is their front paws. They're kind of their trademark, right? Long, nimble fingers. And crucially, no webbing like you might see in, say, otters. This lets them handle things with amazing dexterity, opening latches, jars, delicate food items.
Wow.
And what's really amazing is how sensitive those paws are. They can feel textures and shapes underwater, which makes them incredibly good foragers in murky spots.
Okay, paws are key. What else?
Their fur, for one, it's really dense, water resistant, keeps them warm in damp winters, but they can also shed heat in those humid Arkansas summers. And the mask, that iconic black mask.
Yeah.
It's not just for looks. It actually helps reduce glare, improving their night vision for all that nocturnal activity.
Functional fashion.
Pretty much. And then there's their digestive system. Super adaptable. Being omnivores, they can eat almost anything, from mussels to sweet corn. Their teeth are set up for it, sharp canines for tearing, flat molars for grinding.
But what about upstairs? Their intelligence. Is that often overlooked?
Oh, absolutely. The chronicles point this out too. Studies show they can remember how to solve problems for years. And you hear it from farmers, right? How persistent they are, figuring out how to get into feed bins or through
That
gates.
problem solving must be vital.
Incredibly valuable, especially in Ashley County, where one night they might be at a catfish pond, the next near a melon patch. Different challenges, different solutions.
So it's not just one thing, it's the whole package. How
Mhm.
all these traits work together, like Barfield says, they don't just survive the challenges, they kind of exploit them,
Yeah.
turning floods and harvests into opportunity.
Exactly. That's the essence of their success there.
And this really comes into play during their night shift, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Their search for food seems so deliberate, tuned to the seasons. What does that seasonal menu look like in Ashley County?
Yeah. Night shift is a good way to put it. In spring, the bottomlands are basically a buffet. Lots of fresh shoots, grasses, frogs hatch. And they're wading in the creeks, feeling for mussels, crayfish. Plus early fruits like mulberries and mayhaws. Sweet treats.
Okay, spring sounds abundant.
Then summer hits. They tend to shift toward the edges of agriculture. Melon fields, sweet corn patches, gardens. You know the drill, usually just muddy paw prints left behind.
Right.
And they supplement that with insects, grubs, maybe some field mice for
In
protein.
fall, getting ready for winter.
Exactly. Autumn is what the chronicles call the time of fattening. They're gathering acorns, pecans, persimmons, wild grapes like crazy, building up fat reserves. Down in the delta, they might scavenge spilled rice or corn from the harvest. Up in the uplands, they're after massed acorns, nuts, fruits on the forest floor.
So they're busy right up until it gets cold.
Pretty much. And even winter doesn't stop them entirely. They might hole up during really cold snaps, sure. But on milder nights, they'll be out looking for carrion, dormant insects, maybe digging shellfish from shallow, icy water. Being omnivores means they nearly always find something. That whole cycle just shows their adaptive genius.
It really does. It keeps them perfectly in sync with the county's cycles: flood, drought, planting, harvest. Like you said, the night shift never ends. It just changes the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And it seems like water is a recurring theme. The chronicles say where water meets land, raccoons find their richest opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Their connection to wetlands sounds incredibly strong.
Oh, it's fundamental. They're described as master foragers in aquatic environments. You see them wading in shallows, very methodical, using those sensitive paws to probe the mud, finding mussels, crayfish, frogs, aquatic insects. Even when the water's murky, that sense of touch is key.
So they're really comfortable in the water.
Very. And seasonal flooding. It changes everything, but they use it. When the water rises, they move to higher ground ridges, levees, maybe an old beaver lodge becomes a base camp. But then as the water goes down, they follow that receding edge, feasting on fish and stuff left stranded.
Turning a potential problem into a feast.
Exactly. They've mastered that cycle.
And the wetlands offer more than just food, right? Shelter.
Absolutely crucial. Hollow cypress and tupelo trees make great dens, safe above high water. Dense thickets of buttonbush or willow provide cover for bedding down. These watery areas act as natural buffers, too, from predators and, well, from us. It's a whole life support system tied to water.
It's such a deep connection. I like how Barfield puts it. To walk these water's edges is to follow the same paths raccoons have traveled for countless generations. It really drives home how linked the health of those wetlands is to the raccoons' own fortunes.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so moving beyond their biology and habitat, the essay suggests the raccoon story in Ashley County is also cultural. It's woven into the county's folklore, hunting traditions, and everyday life. How does that manifest?
Well, there's a rich history there, according to the chronicles. Think about old hunting camps along the Saline and Waukeeta rivers. There were stories, about the big coon they finally treed after a long chase with the dogs. Raccoon hunting wasn't just about fur. Often it was about the fellowship, following the hounds baying through the dark woods. That's a deep historical connection.
Right, the tradition.
And then there's the folklore. Raccoons often show up as tricksters, clever enough to steal bait off a trap without setting it off, bold enough to raid a smokehouse. These stories really cemented their reputation for being resourceful, maybe a bit cunning.
So a mix of respect and maybe some exasperation.
Exactly. For many folks, seeing a healthy raccoon was just part of country living, something to be respected. But the chronicles also mention that thin line between wild neighbor and unwelcome guest. They're notorious for getting into chicken feed, garbage cans, pet food left outside.
Yeah, anyone with sweet corn knows that story.
Oh, yes. Farmers with ripe crops know their persistence all too well. It creates that familiar kind of push-pull dynamic in rural areas.
So even if there's sometimes a nuisance, they're still very much part of the cultural landscape. In memories, stories, maybe just a glimpse on a trail cam or under the porch light. They're present.
Definitely still present.
So putting it all together, where do they fit in Ashley County's food web? The essays say they're both predator and prey, both competitor and occasional partner. How does that play out?
It's a great summary. As predators, yeah, they're small scale, but they have an impact, especially in spring, raiding bird nests for eggs, even hatchlings, including waterfowl. They hunt frogs, crayfish, mussels along creek banks, insects, small rodents too. They definitely help keep certain populations in check.
Okay, so they do some hunting. But what hunts them?
Good question. Coyotes are probably their main natural predator now, especially targeting adults in winter when food's scarce. Great horned owls and bobcats might take younger, less experienced raccoons. Historically, you might have had red wolves or black bears, but they're rare now. But really, the chronicles point out, humans are their most significant predator.
How so?
Through hunting and trapping, traditionally, but also, sadly, vehicle collisions. Those rural highways can be dangerous for them at night.
Right. And competition. They're not alone out there.
Not at all. They share resources with opossums, skunks, even feral hogs sometimes. That can lead to nighttime standoffs over a good food source. But
Yeah.
sometimes their actions help others, like a raccoon might flip a log looking for grubs, and that exposes food for smaller creatures. It's complex.
So their role isn't fixed. It's flexible and responsive, influencing lots of other species around them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's bring this right up to today. How are these incredibly adaptable survivors dealing with modern challenges in Ashley County? What does the future look like?
Well, this is where human activity really intersects with their lives, bringing new risks. Disease is a big one. Rabies isn't common, but it's a concern. More significant are outbreaks of canine distemper.
Distemper, like dogs get.
Yeah, and it can be devastating for raccoon populations. It spreads fast where they gather. Think dumpsters, places people leave out pet food, even deer feeders. That proximity to human activity is a key factor. And then there are parasites, worms, ticks. They play a constant background role in their health.
So disease is one pressure. What else?
Habitat loss and fragmentation. It's an ongoing issue. Forests get cleared for development or maybe large-scale agriculture. This breaks up the corridors they use to travel and find den sites. And while raccoons can live surprisingly close to us, this fragmentation pushes them to crossroads more often.
Which leads back to vehicle collisions.
Exactly.
Anyone who drives Highway 82 or 425 at night, you see it. A flash of eyes in the headlights, and, well, too often they don't make it across. It's a really visible impact.
It's tragic, and it happens frequently. But on a more positive note, broader conservation efforts in Arkansas do help raccoons indirectly. Things like wetland restoration, planting trees, stabilizing creek banks that improves their habitat.
Okay, so habitat improvement helps.
Yeah, and public education is important too. Simple things, right? Securing trash cans properly, not intentionally feeding wildlife that just concentrates them and can spread disease. Plus, it encourages nuisance behavior. It's all part of finding a way towards responsible coexistence.
It really does sound like coexistence is a balancing act. Needs awareness, maybe some effort from our side.
It is. But the Chronicles suggest that by protecting those essential habitats, the wetlands, the forests, and by managing conflicts thoughtfully, Ashley County can ensure its masked neighbors remain healthy, thriving members of the ecosystem for generations to come. It's possible.
Well, this has been quite a deep dive. From their physical abilities and incredible adaptability to how deeply they're rooted in Ashley County's landscape, its culture, its ecology. They really are both opportunists and specialists. Clever, resilient creatures.
Absolutely. And these masked neighbors, they're just a constant reminder, aren't they, of the wild that's still thriving right on the edges of our lives, often closer than we think, a testament to nature's ingenuity.
So as you think about the raccoon's amazing ability to navigate, even exploit these human-changed landscapes, here's something to maybe mull over. Given how incredibly adaptable and intelligent they are in dealing with our world, what might they teach us about thriving in a world that's always changing? Could understanding their ingenuity maybe spark some new ideas for how we coexist with nature? Not just in Ashley County, but, well, anywhere.